All right, the Avs lose an ugly one over the weekend, 8-4 against the Florida Panthers. We'll discuss that. And Shaggy wants to bring up some stats that he has specifically about the goalie position, which is all the talk right now in Avalanche world. So we'll get into that and a lot more on today's episode of Locked On Avalanche. Coming at you.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for tuning in, making it your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. Make sure you're following us on our social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, X, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram, Threads, questions, comments, concerns, and opinions, lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And make sure you're following us on our YouTube channel. Hit subscribe, get notified when a new show goes live, and make sure you are subscribed to our subtext as well. Link to that is in the show notes below. When you do, you chat with Kyle and I one-on-one. We get your opinions on everything Avalanche that we share on this very show. Bruins are up next for the Avalanche in this hell week, I guess we can call it, or this hell stretch. So we'll discuss that a little bit later. We'll get to some stats that Kyle wanted to bring up, but we're just going to discuss the game. It happened a couple days ago, so it's you might not want to discuss it right now. Just
is it too late to call in sick?
Yeah. I mean, it was bad, and then it was good, and then it was bad again. And in the end, it was 8-4 that you lose this thing. Two empty netters make the final score inflated a little bit, but hey, 8 goals against you is 8 goals against you. I don't know. Like, I think this is just one that you I want to say you can take like some good in it, that you came back very, very quickly. It was a rough first period. Prosvetov just did not have it. And then, you score 3 goals to tie it up in the first 4.5 minutes of the second. And you're like, okay, here we go. And then he gives up another one. And that's when he's pulled. Georgiev comes in. He lets up a couple, and it's just more goalie problems for the Avalanche right now. And that is the focus, because I feel like everything else is going pretty well. Your offense is fine. Your defense is playing fine overall. Goalie right now is the glaring point for the Avalanche, and you can't deny that. You can't understate that.
And I don't know if you happen to catch Devon Tays and his comments after the game.
Mm-hmm.
They struck me, and they rung with me, and they've been sitting on my just between my ears all weekend. He said it's not about being the best team. Like tonight, it's over 82 games. It's hard to do. Right. It's very dismissive. And that first period is not something you don't want to be dismissive. Like, this is.
Oh, you're all right. Fire away.
No, it's just that first period is probably the worst period the Avalanche have registered all year. And you don't want to instantly dismiss it as, yeah, you can't be the best team every night. Like, no, like, you saw how you reacted in just a short period of time in that second period. You had a chance. There were multiple times that you brought this together. Yes, you kind of shot yourself in the foot with the effort from top down.
I didn't mind the effort so much. I thought the effort was there. It was just you got behind so quickly. And I think this was going to be like, if the Avs never did that, if the Avs never did the 3 goals in 5 or less than 5 minutes, they were going to leave Prosvetov out on an island. Like, this was his game. They needed to give Georgiev a day off. He's been playing too much. He did like 9 games in a row, I think it was. And the fact that they came back and then he gives up another one, I think Jared Bednar was like, well, we're in this thing now. So he clearly doesn't have it. We're in this. If we're going to try to win this thing, which we want to do, that's what you play to win the game, Herm Edwards. But so you bring him in, and I mean, he does better. He did better than Prosvetov. But now the question looms, like, you need a 2 goalie system in this league now. It's just how it's run. We'll get into, like, the stats that you have and things like that in a minute. But where this game really turned was in the third, and it was a full 2-minute 5-on-3 for the Panthers. And it was a high sticking call, followed by a Logan O'Connor delay of the game. And but the high sticking was on Ross Colton, and it's a 2-minute, or actually it was a 4-minute minor, excuse me, double minor.
Mhm.
I want to talk about that because I didn't understand why this has happened now 2 games in a row for the Avalanche, where they get called for a double minor. There's no blood on the play from the player, and then they go and review it, and they keep it at a 2 or a double minor. Kyle Keefe from the Altitude Network seems to be as confused. A lot of people are confused. You're seeing a lot of people on social media like, this has happened now 2 games in a row. Like, we've always been under the impression like there's blood, that's an extra 2 minutes. Like, that's the common thread of why it's the difference between a 2-minute and a 4-minute. And someone put up on Kyle Keefe's, they posted him, and they have a screenshot of the rule book. Her name is Leah Engstman, who posted this. I want to give her credit for it. And this is within the rule book. She said this might be the reason, but I think she's onto it. She's onto something here. And it says the linesman must stop play immediately and report to the referees when it is apparent that an injury has resulted from a high stick that has gone undetected by the referees and requires the assessment of a double minor penalty. What? So you are giving a double minor penalty automatically because you missed a call? Make sense of this for me. I don't understand. Like, I didn't know that was a thing. And this is like, the depths of the NHL rule book, that is insanity. And I'm not even talking about Ross Colton's play in general. I'm talking about that rule. You're telling me because a ref missed a call and the linesman saw it, they stop play and it immediately goes to a double minor. Why? And then you review it and you keep it at that. But I cannot for the life of me figure this out. Why? I don't know. And you're muted. I can't hear you. Okay.
No,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
it's one of those situations that even veteran referees, seasoned referees, it's one of those, if you miss a call, even the linesman should know this. Just let it go, and you could catch it. You've seen makeup calls. You'll catch them on the other side. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, unless there is blood, that's usually like
That's usually what it is. That is what we have been seasoned to accept, that if there is blood there, then it's a double. Fine.
Yeah.
Fine. But where is this? Because you missed it, the penalty gets upgraded. Why is that the upgrade? The upgrade is because you missed the call? It makes zero sense to me why that is the rule. And then you go review it and how do you lower? Like, why isn't it lowered then? If you're going to review it and you don't see blood, you didn't see blood when you went to him. There was a high stick, there's no blood. You call the double minor because you missed it, which makes zero sense. And then you go review it and you keep it at a double minor, even though there's no blood. None of this makes sense to me. None of it.
So why even review it? And honestly, as a linesman, why are you usurping the authority of the
ref?
referee? Like,
I
you're
think the linesman goes
sabotaging
to
the
ref.
game.
I think because if a player goes down and it, from what I understand, this is just for high sticking. This is not just all penalties in general. So from a high sticking, and if a player goes down, he's injured, they stop play just for the safety of the players. I get that. So the linesman goes to the ref and says, you missed that one. And they go, okay, double minor. Like, that's literally what they do. I'm smacking my head here. And I don't, for the life of me, and it played a huge factor. Because now, if you want to get to the game part of that, like, I'm just talking about the rule in general is dumb. And now, if you want to get back to this game, it played a huge role because now, and then, Logan O'Connor does the one thing he just shouldn't be doing. He's our best penalty killer. And I think he was just, when you're on a double minor, like you want to get clears as quickly and as fast as possible. And I think that's all he was trying to do. And it's just one of those things where it went flying. Someone got injured in the stands too with that, which I haven't heard if the outcome of that, but hopefully that person's okay. But and that now you have full 2 minutes, 5-on-3, and man, that was just going to be a challenge that they didn't overcome that, and that really turned the tide, Kyle. That really, I mean, that's 4 minutes gone. And it was just it was tough to come back. It was tough to come back anyway because Florida's a good team. But when you're playing from behind like that, so much, yeah, the goalie problems, the double minor, and then the 5-on-3, like too many things add up. And when you're playing against good teams like Florida, it's tough to come back on all of those kind of miscues that you had throughout the game.
Yeah, I think we could summarize that Florida game as just you did all the wrong things and you can't overcome it. Like even 1 for 4 on the power play. Like you had opportunities to fix this.
Yeah.
And it just did not happen. So you did everything wrong and this is what happens.
So more to talk about, obviously, with this game, and especially the goaltending. Should Prosvetov even have been in net to start anyway against a team like Florida? Or was it just they wanted to get him in because they had to give Georgiev some rest. They had to give him a game, get him in. Did not go as planned. So where do we go from here? Kyle's got some stuff he wants to bring up, and we're going to do all of that coming up next. First, we're going to hear from GameTime and the GameTime app, and you shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next big event because GameTime is a fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you with killer last-minute deals, all-in pricing, views from your seats, and the best price guarantee. GameTime takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. And I always love a new year, Kyle, because then you're starting to get, that's when you get those announcements for tours coming in the area, and you're hearing some now. So I cannot wait till the summertime and the nice weather comes, and use this GameTime app for any and all shows in your area. So download the GameTime app, create an account, use the code Locked On for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code Locked On, LOCKEDON, for $20 off. Download GameTime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, so let's focus in on goalies and defense here. We talked about Prosvetov and what is this going to look like for the Avalanche? I don't know what the solution is here because I don't feel like you at this stage in the game, if the Avalanche were not where they are in the standings, I think you probably would have seen a change already from the top. I'm talking about Georgiev. If the Avs were not like they're what 1-2 points out of the top spot in the entire league. They were not there. I think a change is made, maybe, but where they are, like he's not going anywhere. They're not going to trade him. I think and I think they have faith in him still. I think they have faith that he can figure this out. I think the backup is where you see some movement here. And a lot of people are calling for Eustace to come on up. I don't know if that solves the problem. He's not really ready. But something needs to be done there. Something needs to be done in the backup, and something needs to be done with Georgiev. He's just got to play better. But what do you think you got going here?
My friend, it's funny that you mentioned this Georgiev character. What is this? The one stat everybody likes to talk about when we talk about Alexander Georgiev?
Just goalies in general. It's wins and save percentage. Sure,
he's got 32 wins, Chris. He's the top of the league with 32 wins. But UC Saros has 31. So what are we championing?
Well,
here?
no, he doesn't have 30. He can't have 31 wins. There's
UC
no way
Saros?
he's got 30. Georgiev.
No,
he's only got
Georgiev he's got 32.
There's no way. He's only played.
Let me hold on.
Go ahead.
We got right here. We just came off 9 in a row for Georgiev.
Right.
You want to know who has the most goals against?
As who is it?
That'd be let's see, 95 goals against. Alexander
Oh, he's
Georgiev.
got yeah.
So
Yeah.
wow, that's also a stat puts you right up there at the top. But he's sitting at 11 when it 11th in the league. Now, also, he's when you're thinking of the stats and the totality, there
Mhm,
hasn't been just flat 32 goalies. This rattles off into about a 47 goalies that have started in the NHL this year so far.
mhm,
Let's go down to save percentage
mhm,
with an 895. That
which is
puts
not
him at
good.
42.
Yeah, that's not
40.
good.
And how about goals against average?
Okay.
2.98. That
Mhm,
puts him at 29th in the league.
mhm,
Okay, so all of the it's Georgiev's problem. Congratulations, I just gave you some stats, but not so fast, my friend.
mhm.
Who's in front of him? The defense.
Tell me. Right?
When it comes to defense, the plus minus. I'm just putting this out here. This is not a gospel stat. This is just a relative in your ear stat.
Mhm.
Taves has a +9. Your first Colorado Avalanche defenseman with a plus minus that puts him at 31. Cale Makar has a +8. That puts him
Mhm.
at 38th in the league. That means there are 30 better defenders with a plus minus. That means they're not out there for, and I
Goals,
have
right?
one
Yeah.
more
Uh-huh.
on ice goal against with even strength.
Mhm.
Tays has given up 41 goals on even strength, which puts him at 17th.
Okay.
Bo Byram, 36. That puts him at 37th. And Cale Makar has
Mhm.
given up 35, which puts him at 41st.
Yeah.
There's your tandem. There is the leak in the ship. That's where the problem is.
But the
It's
Avs
both
lead the league in defensive points, which is
and
great, which is great. That's the offensive side of things. But on the defensive side, I mean, it hasn't been perfect. I just
no,
wanted to clean up so like because I think you had games played missed with wins because Georgiev is
wins.
33 games played and
Thank you.
Saros is 31 games played and Georgiev is I think 20 or 21 wins on the season. So yeah,
Thank you.
but you know he is leading the league in win. It's amazing. He's
It's
leading the
great.
league in wins, but when you look at the stats, it's not like he's getting bailed out. That's flat out what that means.
You're
So
relying
like
on overscoring. Like we're talking about how great it is that Mikko Rantanen is playing as he is, Val Nichushkin playing like he is, Nathan McKinnon on a complete, just unreal
Mhm.
level of play. That is the only reason the Avalanche are where they are right now. It's not, you're not getting that help from the depth. Line 2 through 4, they're not bailing you out of anything. The defense is not certainly not helping you out in the least. Granted, they could score goals. That's great. That's what the forwards should do. They should also be helping in the disbursement of goals.
I'm feeling like, you know, your forwards for the most part, you have some problems there too. Like Ryan Johansson is just he's just not working out, I feel. Like I don't like we always when he scores a goal or he plays relatively decent, we all want to have that feeling of like we do with the Avs as a whole of oh maybe he's turned the corner. And then he'll just follow it up with 3 or 4 just like where is he? Or
Yeah.
just plays where you're just like man like maybe this team is just his not his style. Um I don't know, man. Like Jonathan Drouin has completely turned the corner, but I think Jonathan Drouin is kind of made for how this team plays. And after seeing Ryan Johansson, it just seems like he has lost a step, or maybe the Avalanche speed just makes it look that way. But I don't know, man. Like I'm kind of souring a little bit on Ryan Johansson. Um, so I think like forward wise, you're happy. Overall, you are happy with the forwards. Sure, there's some outliers there. Ryan Johansson's one. Defense is like middle of the road. It's like a bend don't break. Like times are doing well. Yeah, times are not. They're doing poorly. But overall, I think they're middle of the road. They should be higher than that with who they have, but they're kind of middle of the road. and then goaltending is like, bottom of the barrel right now. And that maybe that's really harsh to say that. I don't want to say it, but it's so you have like three different tiers. Forwards are up here, defense is in the middle, goalies are on the bottom. And just imagine if you had just what Georgiev was doing last year, if he carried that over into this year so far, this team would be so far ahead of everybody in the standings. It would be the Bruins of last year.
And
But
I
this
would
is what
like
poor goaltending can do for a team.
I would like to raise you one little fact. You say the forwards are up here. Let's just be real. This is line one. Like Drouin, Nichushkin, you could swap
Well,
them in and out. Ross Colton
yeah,
hasn't scored since December 17th. I mean
but
December 11th.
he mixes it
And
up though. He's in
and
there. He almost had that goal. They almost had that tip. Like I get it. That's true. But go ahead.
and Miles Wood hasn't scored since the 17th. It's Miles Wood since the 17th, Ross Colton since December 11th.
Um,
A goal.
Fine, and right, and a goal, and you want that, you want them to score a goal.
Yes.
I get that. But I mean, we just talked about Miles Wood against, I think it was the St. Louis game, where he was just all over the place. Like he's he's noticeable. Colton, I mean, he's noticeable. Like you're getting play out of it. He's sure you want to score a little bit more and make up for lack of some
I
other guys, but
I bring that up
overall,
because everybody wants to talk about defensemen who could score. I would like to talk about forwards who actually score. Like
mhm.
you can't have you got to have them doing their basic job and the extras, on top of their job. You can't have like just an offensive defenseman and they don't play defense, or a forward
No,
that plays
right,
everything but score goals. You gotta
right,
you gotta bring it back to the middle.
yep. All right. Subtext has some some comments on the goalie situation and some Bruin predictions as well. So let's take a quick break and we will get to that right after this. Right now, we're going to hear from FanDuel, the NFL regular season. It's wrapped up, Kyle. It's done. How you feeling? Are you happy with the season, or
What a ride.
yeah, it always
It was
is.
the last ride.
Another season the Broncos missed the playoffs. It's got to end at some point. But yeah, the NFL season is wrapping up. But you can still get in on the action because the playoffs are here. So you can get that with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you play a $5 bet. That's a $150 bonus bet in your account, win or lose. The app is very easy to use, and there's many different ways to bet, like this live same game parlay. Make a parlay in the parlay hub, and it's the best way to find all those popular parlays. I'm terrible at those. I'm just terrible at betting in general, so I just don't do it. But so you can visit fanduel.com/lockedon and make your first bet. What?
A hole-in-one.
Oh, another hole in one. I love it. So FanDuel is the official partner of the NFL. All right, let me jump on over to our subtext people here. We'll kind of get their thoughts on the Georgiev stuff, and just the goaltending in general. Keegan, I think the Avs should send Prosvetov down, call up Eustace Annunen, and give Georgie a break. Georgiev clearly needs some time off to find his game. I don't think the Avs would send him down. No, they would absolutely not send him down over Prosvetov, because Georgiev is their #1. He definitely is. Annunen has a 905 save percent in his last 10 games. It'd be nice to see how he can handle himself at the NHL level again. Definitely start Georgie against Boston. I would think they would. I think Boston game will be back and forth slugfest, but in the end, Avs take it 6-5 in overtime. And he says game winner by Nuke. Why no game winner by McKinnon? I mean, that just seems to be his forte right now.
Yeah, true.
No, there's no way on earth Georgiev gets sent down. I think people are, that Annunen bringing him up. I wouldn't be against that.
I'm not either.
But I don't really look at the stats. And he said he had a 905 in his last 10. To me, throw that out the door. That's not NHL level. Like, okay, I mean, if you're saying like he's playing well down there, which is if that's the argument that he's making, okay, fine. Like he's playing well enough where in the level he's at to warrant bringing him up. Okay, fine. And I think they were going to give him a shot at the beginning of the year. I think he was their guy. And then when Prosvetov was just on waivers from Arizona, they were like, well, he's got a little bit more experience, so we'll go with him. But at this point, what could hurt, man?
Yeah.
What's the downside of it? I
There
don't really
isn't.
think there is.
I feel like this is the move that needs to be made.
And it's odd that they haven't. I mean, unless they're going to announce this in the morning, if they announce it at all. I mean, maybe they wouldn't even do it, knowing that he's not playing against the Bruins. So, what's the point? I don't know. I don't know what the thinking is, but again, if they make a trade, you're not going to get rid of Georgiev. You're not going to do that. Like he is their guy. He's the one that they're going to rally behind, and they're going to let him. They're going to give him the entire year to figure it out. I'm sorry. Like, that's just what's going to happen. I do not see them trade. You can't make a trade when you're in the position that you're in as the Avalanche. You can't make a trade for a brand new starting goalie and be in the position that you're in terms of the standings. I just don't think that's the thing that a team is going to do.
Well, the conversation is one that could be had closer to the deadline.
Of
Like
bringing in a
today,
backup, sure, but I just don't. I think that's a worse time to do it, because now you only have a month and a half for that guy to be the number one guy
well, if
for
you're gonna,
a upper echelon team. That's a lot on that guy's shoulders, whoever that might be.
Well, you're putting a lot of stress on the team with somebody who's carrying an .828
Sure,
save percentage.
absolutely, you're right. Yeah, Vargar. I'd love to say the solution to the goaltending is internal. Uses hasn't been constant and hasn't really developed as planned. For some reason, the Avs never draft goalies, and since '95, only produced middle of the road tenders like Denis, Abasher, and Budai. The solution: I'd take a flyer on Spencer Knight or Varley. They're not trading Varley. Are they? The Islanders? There's no way. That's the best goalie tandem in the league. They would never bring that up.
With Vargar, the way things are shifting with Descartes and in Seattle, we might get Grubauer back.
Oof. Wow, imagine that. Most of the big names mentioned in deals won't come with big price tags, and that's not going to work, clearly. So I don't know. I don't think Varlamov is on the block, but that's the other part of it. What's out there?
Yeah.
What is out there? Like goaltender
Spencer Knight, it got my ears perked up.
Is he even on the block? I don't think so. Madam Battle Axe, she talks about the game, but she said, I'm a little lost as to why Prosvetov got pulled, because when Georgiev has horrible games, he stays in the whole game. That's true, but we've seen Georgiev kind of settle in and settle down and allow the team to work their way back. And like I said earlier, if the Avs never came back in that second, Prosvetov was going to be his game. This was going to be Patrick Waugh, Montreal Canadiens. If there was 8 or 9 goals put up, they're going to be all on him. But they came back, and I think he just felt like, we're back in it. And then you're also, if Georgiev gave up, and he did give up, 3 goals in the first, maybe they're not so confident to turn it over to Prosvetov to keep them in the game, to get them back in the game.
I'm not confident really in either. And honestly, to put Georgiev back in the game, I also was surprised. Like, you're calling in a guy on his day off. So now going into this Boston game, if I worry about what he's going to look like, but
I mean, to me, I get why Bednar made that move right there, because if Georgiev if Prosvetov just kept letting in goals, his forwards are just going to be like, dude, like we worked our butts off to get us back in this game, and we got a goalie who's just Swiss cheese right now. So he had to make that move at that time. He had to.
Either way, they still lost 8-4.
Right.
So yeah, it could have been 10-4. It could have been 12-4. It's
and a lot of it, we talked about the penalty and stuff like that, which did not help. So, but no, Florida did what they had to do. She gives a prediction. I'm still going with the Avs winning, but in a shootout. She just feels like they're going to fight back. Avs 4-3. And that's the other thing. Like I haven't lost confidence in
No.
Georgiev. I haven't. In Georgiev, no. I had because last year he played very well. This year it's been an up and down struggle. And if he's a pro, which clearly he is, let's see what he can do when his backup is against the wall. And it's been like that many times, and it's kind of like still up in the air on how he follows things up, right? So let's see. Let's just I know people are throwing in the towel on him. To me, it's a little bit premature. I'm not saying he's been good. He's been good and he's been bad, but I'm not just throwing the talent on him, because I feel like he just has that mentality, and when you hear him talk, like he's not happy about this, obviously. So I don't know. I just feel
That's
like he can write this. I just have a vibe about it.
it's you call it an up and down. It started out good, but
Great.
it's been a step back. And it's now to the
Sure.
point where, like I rattled off, like stats are starting to scream really loud. And when you're talking about a team top to bottom so talented, like it's hard to keep defending somebody who is honestly, I know what he did last year, but we're
Mhm.
talking about this season, a goalie who is so average. And honestly, better goalies have been sent to the AHL this year because of their play. Just as Toronto, just as Carolina, like your goalies,
Yeah.
this has not been a good year for goalies. And will Georgiev be that? Unless he takes that step up, he might be another one at the end of the year. When you look at the year in review, he could be another
Yeah.
one of those goalies that just did not have a great year. And I just want to see him step up. I know he can, but right now he has not.
Yeah, if anything, that's when the Avs reevaluate this, is at the end of the year. They'll see how it goes for the entirety of the year and then go from there. Easton, he doesn't think the Avs are going to win this game. He says they lose 4-2, another sub 900 percentage for Georgiev. He says goals by Ryan Johansson. So here we go again. And then we're all going to think that he's turned the corner. And Nichushkin. And then he also says, I hope my negativity triggers the opposite.
I like your
I like
thinking.
a little reverse psychology there, Easton. I like it.
And
All right.
and that's
So yeah,
usually when Ryjo scores and losses, because we all forget those games existed. And we're like,
yeah,
he hasn't scored a while. You look back and the last time he scored was a loss, and we purged that
yeah.
from our memory.
All right. So we'll see how this thing goes. The ride continues, Kyle. But despite it all, where they're in the standings is just shocking. And so ride the McKinnon wave, I guess. So
Let's ride.
yeah. Oh boy. Are we adopting that now? All right, everyone. That's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you for tuning in, making it your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. We'll be back tomorrow to discuss this Bruins game and anything else that's going on in Avalanche Nation. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. He's Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We'll see you guys tomorrow.